Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Top Tarot Minors. This has been a while, a big gap in this series, and it will be winding up this week. So the entire series will be available for you to review at any time. And I want to thank you all so much for your, for your support and the tremendous number of comments and likes that happened over the past couple of months. And this is being recorded in January 6, 2025. So this is just after a whirlwind of videos that I have been recording, uploading. And today is all about the 10 of discs. And I have just arrived back to my table. It's been a very busy day, so I'm going to read a little bit just to get inspired and get into the mood in talking about these cards. So please bear with me while I read and dial it down just a little bit. And if you're new, hello, my name is Sadhana. A very warm welcome to you. The 10 of discs is long associated with the word castle. And I am reading from the supplemental guidebook by Christine Payne Towler and Michael Dowers for the Tarot of the Holy Light, which is the card in the center you are looking at. Built on a hill at the heart of the region, it offers a rampart of defense against enemies and a domicile big enough to shelter the whole community. We can see the Kabbalah trees serving the same function for spiritually awake souls on the astral level. The tree offers a collective blueprint for psychological and spiritual growth, putting us in contact with all the levels of reality that our body's inner and outer senses can be aware of. The tree, like the castle, structures the collective flow of labor, energy, and aspiration according to patterns our spiritual ancestors mapped out for us. This model promises that when we lend our private energies into the collective organism, following the pathways that have been cut by prior generations, the larger metabolism, be it castle, community, or tree, will in return host and succor us as one of its parts. One could say that the tree is an earthly model of God's own castle, into which humans are invited when we are mature enough to discover and occupy it. The classic meaning of the 10 of discs applies to the teachings of the Kabbalah just as easily as it does to the castle community. In both cases, multiple generations of planning, labor, and refinement have culminated in a structure of such inherent stability and resilience that it can generate self-sufficient and entrepreneurial souls. Dynastic pride plays a role in the sense that there's a lineage of visionary individuals who took it upon themselves to materialize the potential in the diagram and make something alive emerge from the initial blueprint. The long-term benefits of participation in the corporate body are strong enough to outweigh the inevitable pressure to conform and to mitigate the harshness of living in close proximity to conflicting forces. This is such a complex card. And the 10 of Pentacles, and I'm going to show it to you in many iterations tonight. It is a 10, and 10s are full. There's a lot, whether you are looking at a pip deck or you are looking at a fully illustrated pictorial deck. There is a lot that is going on in the card. There is so much to process. And the suit of Pentacles seems to be one of accumulation. It accumulates the inspiration of the wands and has processed the energy of the suit of cups through personal and emotional and relationship experiences, and has begun to digest some of the lessons of the suit of swords. And we wander through this material world, this place known as Earth, third dimension, the kingdom, home, with all of the challenges, the accumulation of all of the challenges, the lessons of the previous suits. And so it is rich and diverse and full, and it is complicated. And tens offer this place where we know that it can't get any fuller. This is the end. This is the end of the road. And indeed, it is time to turn the page. To turn the page to a new leaf in the book is coming our way. And this might be the new beginning of an Ace of Wands. It could materialize through zodiacal correspondence. So this is the third decan of Virgo with Golden Dawn correspondences. And so from Virgo, we go to Libra. And this would be Two of Swords. And Two of Swords is very much a card of awakening and really important decisions and new beginnings and careful thought. So that it's so very, very layered. And yet this card also for some feels like, well, it's not lost in the middle between Virgo and Libra. This is a card of the end. It's the 78th card in the tarot. And yes, it has those qualities as well, too. There is a lot of accumulation here, and it can be very difficult to interpret because of the sheer number of possible interpretations and associations. But what is not to be overlooked is that it is a 10-1, an ending and a beginning. It is of this world. It is of this plane. And we'll see other decks tonight where there are deeply full and rich experiences of being here in the beauty of this earth and the connection to nature and all that this planet, the gifts that this planet has to offer us. And the connection with the material, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual is all included in the symbol of the tree of life. And it's funny, I just received a beautiful gift from a student who's been doing some research to an older version of the tree of life, and how very similar this structure is as a representation of a culture that was around thousands of years before the Kabbalistic tree of life. And myself, with my yogic studies and going back, I would say, 5,000 years, a lot of the deep chakra studies correspond as well to this the structure of the tree of life. And it's all here in this 10 of Pentacles, offering whatever you are ready to pick off the page. And so one of my favorite cards is this, it's almost like it belongs in a psychedelic deck, it's so rich. It could be in one of those Tarot Collective, I think that's the publisher. They use Rider-Waite-Smith decks and they recolor them. I have, I think, the Trip and Wait or the Groovy Weight. They have winter decks and blacklight decks. It kind of reminds me of this. But this is, a beautiful iteration of this card. And in this idea of multiple generations, and this being a card of lineages and ancestors, is so important. And the idea of taking time to observe the response to different generations in your life at this time, I think also comes up in this card. Something is shifting, something is changing. The next generation is not responding in the same way. And I don't have the Waite-Smith card here, just let me grab it. I'm sure many of you have studied this card, and there's the interpretations that come through here should be quite familiar. The return of the figure possibly on the outside, the old man returning from a long journey in disguise, and he comes in disguise to witness his previous life, to see if indeed he will be recognized. And the only ones who recognize him are the dogs. Everyone else is going on with their own life. And there's something here on this card about separation. There's a separation among factions in the house. Something is shifting. Something's got to give. And while there may be comfort and material wealth implied in this card, there's about to be a reset. There is about to be a reset. And I really do like that zodiacally the Two of Swords comes after this, because I think there are some deep contemplations that help to process this card, to help in that understanding. And even knowing that that's the next card that comes, it tells me that there's some important reflections that need to happen here. And two also is about relationship. And there's always questions in the Waite-Smith about what is going on with that couple who is wearing symbolically reverse colors. The woman is wearing red. The man has a blue cape. And we can fiddle with those pronouns, but there's some sort of either integration or reversal of things going on here. And it does look like she's on her way out. So something is indeed shifting. Someone is leaving. It's a rich and wacky and wonderful card. And also, okay, so the Libra thing. So the next sign, there are scales on this card pointing to Libra. And you know that Justice card goes by many names, right? A justice and karma. And so I feel like this is definitely pointing to a karma being played out. Another card that I don't have on the table that I do really like is Anna Torian's Tarot of the Abyss. And she has these hands, beautiful hands intersecting. And you can see generations. And I think there's some DNA on the card. And different generations moving through the DNA and roots and strands of life. It's all very beautiful. And something here too with, this kind of an image. This is the Osho Zen Tarot in the center, where we can't deny that we are all connected. And when we make a movement in this web of life, it is felt. That ripple is felt in many, many directions. And whether we're looking at a circle such as this, or we're looking at a Kabbalistic tree of life, or a spider web, or any sort of mandala, there's a sacred geometry that holds it all together. There's a sacredness that holds it all together, a magic and a mystery. And yet we're in this place of dense, dense, dense earth. And I think that it's really important to pause and remember that the mystery is indeed here, and maybe we aren't paying enough attention to it. This is the keeper of the sacred bee, and the tree of life is in the clover, the clover flowers. There's, again, the DNA strand. And this card also makes me think of, well, what is that decision? What is that adjustment, the karma that's playing out in the next few weeks, in the next sign, that is coming through ancestral karma, family karma? Because what I have learned through my studies is that karma comes in different forms. We do have personal karma, but there is also most definitely family karma that together we dance with in this lifetime. And the clover is, to me, is symbolic of life and the bees, and the rich symbol of the bees and their connection to the hexagram, and life and life force and the continuity of life. And yeah, it's a very dynamic, beautiful card. This one is kind of it's kind of dark. It's kind of dark, and I think that is a powerful message. This is from the Gaian Tarot. This is the older Llewellyn version, in that it commands a respect. There's a deep earth message here about connection and treading lightly and keeping on the trail, and that a reminder that this wonderful world in which we live is so fragile. It's silent, and it's I find it a really haunting 10 of Pentacles. And Mother Earth often is not the card. This is from the Wee Moon Tarot. I mean, we do see the earth in the Osho Zen, and there are lots of cards that have the abundance of this life on earth pictured in the card. But here I sense life and responsibility and connection. And one of the pieces in the work I do with people, that is, it just stays with me, and that is the work that we do, be it emotional, physical, spiritual, whatever it is never only about us. It taps into the energy of other generations in all directions of time. And there's something here about the flow of life and the magic of connection as well too. This is from the Lily White Tarot. And in the Ace of Pentacles, you see a single seed being planted. And here in the Ten of Pentacles, you see the fulfillment, the richness of the plant. And it is the manifestation of the seed that we planted. And in a way, I feel like that seed goes all the way back to the Ace of Wands. This is it. This is what you wished for. This is what you dreamed. This is the result of your actions and your intentions. And it's all here in its beauty and its glory. And yet we know that those flowers won't last long. That the flowers will turn to seed and the cycle will begin again. And I have two pip cards here. This is the Neon Tarot, and this is the Crystal Tarot. And I think there's something really beautiful in both of these cards. So we have a circle of 8 coins in the Neon Tarot with 2 coins in the center. And the number 8, the circle of 8, is such a symbolic number of energy. And then the 2 in the center feels like a reflection. It's full of connection, and yet there is dynamic energy in that outer circle of 8. And in the crystal tarot, we have a reflection of 5 and 5. And that is, for some who have studied the tarot, might feel a bit, whoa, this is the manifestation of the braveness of the journey of all that we endured in the 5s. And here we see the end of that journey. And not very often do I think of a 10 as a double 5. But again, you see lots of plant life. You see the relationship of below to above. Within the soil, all the mycelium, the connection of everything below is reflected in the beauty of what is above. I find this to be a truly magnificent, magnificent card. Now, this card also has an abundance of Mercury associations. It is in the sign of Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. The decan is Mercury. And it is, like I said, it has that connecting flow to Libra and Justice and the 2 of Swords. And the 2 of Swords is a lunar decan, but it's still in the suit of Swords. And I feel like there's a powerful healing that has potential in this card, that if we are to truly get this card, we'll understand that what needs to give is part of a deeper healing process. And then I think, okay, well, yeah, this is also a hermit card, a hermit decan. It is, the self-reflection is so very important here. Whether you are the woman in the background of the Waite-Smith who's made a decision to go out into the world, or whether you are the old man in the foreground who is reflecting on their life, loneliness, or whether that is you come back in disguise to see how everything has changed. It is a powerful card, simultaneously of reflection and healing. It's one that is worthy of years of study. I think it's one of the most complex cards in the tarot, and one to be admired deeply, respected deeply. Yeah. All right, so I have been choosing top 5s for these series, and let me do that now. So I'm going to stay with Tarot of the Holy Light. And, this is totally unplanned, that I was not planning on showing the Waite-Smith deck tonight. This is a centennial version. However, this is such a symbol-rich card, and I think of all the cards in this deck, it is one that can hook you into deepening your study of the esoteric associations in this deck. So I'm going to include that one in my top 5. Lily White, that has long, long been a favorite. And there's something about, and I guess that also mirrors what's going on in the Waite-Smith as well, too. If you can see the card well enough, it's definitely an older person who's walking on that path. There's something about reverence here that feels very, very important. And if I am to choose one more, I think we get the power of connection in a lot of these cards. But something that is really unique is this 5-5 relationship in the Crystal Tarot. And I have yet to do a deep dive into Euclidean geometry decks. And that is something that is on the list. I don't know what year I'm going to get to that. But just as a reflection of 5-5, and now I'm looking at it, I'm also seeing a conversation of 4-4 with 2 in the middle. So I think there's a lot we can work with in this one too. So thank you. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in 23 hours or so for the Page of Pentacles. Take good care. Thank you. Namaste.